Hi and welcome to my channel. So today we are going to be learning how to make these fingerless gloves. Okay, the materials we'll be needing, I'll need a measuring tape, a pair of scissors. I'm using a size 4mm crochet hook. Okay, and we'll also be needing our yarns. Of course, I'm using 4 colors of yarns, as you can see. The next thing to do now is to make our magic ring. Okay, so to do that, you take your yarn in between your fingers and twist it around like so. Pinch the two ends together. Okay, so that is the first step of the magic ring. So you take your hook, insert it through the ring, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, chain one. So that is your magic ring. The next thing now is to make our starting double crochet stitch. Okay, which is going to be, I'll make a single crochet, okay, into the loop, make another single crochet stacked on top of the first single crochet. As you can see what I'm doing in the video, watch closely. You stack another single crochet on top of the previous single crochet. Okay, so that is 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. Okay, you can also do a chain 3 if that is what you prefer to start with. Okay, so you can just chain 3 like so, and then you can start working your regular double crochets as usual. Okay, so that's just it. Okay, but I prefer to do the 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. Okay, so I'm just going to do 1 single crochet, insert my hook on top of it and do another single crochet, and still repeat the same thing again. Okay, making it 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. And now I'm going to make a regular normal double crochet into the ring. Yarn over, insert your hook, pull through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Okay, so that's 3 double crochets into the ring, chain 2, and then make another 3 double crochets into that same ring. Okay, 2, and then the 3rd double crochet. After that, you chain 2 again and make another 3 double crochets into the same ring space. Okay, and then the 3rd double crochet. You want to chain 2 again and make the final set of 3 double crochets. Okay, 1, 2, and then the 3rd one. So this is a total of 4 sets of 3 double crochets repeated by chain 2 stitches. Okay, so now we are going to pull on that tail end from the ring to close up the loop. So pull tightly like so, and once you're done pulling, the next thing now is to chain 2, and then we are going to join to the top of that very first double crochet there. Yours can be the chain 3 stitch, so you join to the top of the 3rd chain. So you chain 1, pull up a loop, and then cut off the yarn, and then that completes this round. Now for round 2, we are going to attach our new color of yarn into any of the chain 2 spaces. Okay, so you take your new color of yarn and attach it like so. Once you've attached that, you want to make your starting double crochet. It can be a chain 3 or a 3 single crochet stacked on top of each other like I'm doing just now. Okay, so make your first double crochet stitch. Okay, and then you're going to yarn over and make another double crochet, yarn over and make another double, making it 3 double crochets into the same chain 2 space. Okay, and then you want to chain 2, and then you're going to make another 3 double crochets into the same chain 2 space, and this is what will be our corner stitch. Okay, so 3 double crochets, chain 2, and 3 double crochets into the chain 2 space. So you chain 1, and into the next chain 2 space you repeat the same corner stitch there. Okay, so 3 double crochets into the same chain 2 space. Okay, chain 2, and then make another 3 double crochet into the same chain 2 space. Okay, that is our next corner stitch. Okay, after that you chain 1, and then you want to repeat the same corner stitch for each of the remaining chain 2 spaces of the row. Okay, you want to chain 1 and then slip stitch to join to the top of that very first double crochet stitch there. Okay, so you slip stitch, okay, and then you're going to chain 1, pull up the loop and then cut off the yarn. Okay, so that completes this round. All right, so that is it. Now for the next round, to attach your new color, okay, you're going to attach into any of the chain 1 spaces from the previous round. So you attach your new color of yarn and then you're going to make your starting double crochet stitch or your chain 3 stitch, which counts as a double crochet, whichever the case may be. Okay, so I'm just doing my 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other, counting as a double crochet, and then I'm going to make 2 more double crochets into that same chain 1 space, making it 3 double crochets in 1. Okay, so after you've done that, now you want to chain 1 and then the next place, which is your corner stitch, where you have 2 chain stitches, you want to make 3 double crochets, chain 2 and make another 3 double crochets, which is your corner stitch. So at every corner stitch you place a corner stitch. Okay, and what I mean by corner stitch is where you have chain 2 spaces. Okay, and then the regular stitches is where you have your chain 1 spaces. So after that you chain 1 and then into the next space, which is the chain 1 space, you make just 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. Okay, that's 3. Then you chain 1 and where you have your corner stitch, you place your corner stitch. Okay, so where you get your chain 1 space, you place your 3 double crochets and repeat it all the way around. Towards the end of this round, I've completed all the way around, so I'm just going to chain 1 and slip stitch to join to the top of that very first double crochet there. Okay, once you slip stitch, you chain 1, pull up a loop and cut off the yarn. So that completes our round 3 for this. Okay, so now we are going to do the next round. Now for the next round, which is round 4, okay, we are going to attach our new color of yarn into any of the chain 1 space by the side. So you're going to take your new color of yarn and attach it into the chain 1 space by the side, and then you're going to make your starting double crochet stitch, which is either a chain 3 or 3 single crochet stacked on top of each other, like what I'm doing. Okay, so there was a mistake there. I'm just going to make the last 3rd single crochet, making it 3 single crochet stacked on each other. Then you make a double crochet into the same chain 1 space, then another double crochet into the chain 1 space, making it 3 double crochets into that chain 1 space. Okay, and then we are going to chain 1 into the next chain 1 space. You place 3 double crochet stitches into that chain space, then the 3rd one. After that you chain 1 again, and then in the next stitch, which is now the corner stitch, you place your corner stitch there, which is 3 double crochets. Okay, the 3rd double crochet, and then you chain 2 and then another 3 double crochet into the same chain 2 space. So that is placing your corner stitch there. Then the next thing now is to chain 1 and then place 3 double crochets into the chain 1 space. So this is the pattern we have to repeat all the way around until we get to the end of the row. Okay, now into the next chain 1 space, you're going to place 3 double crochets into the chain 1, and into the corner stitch you place your corner stitch like so, which is 3 double crochets, chain 2 and 3 double crochet. You chain 1 and into the next chain 1 space you place 3 double crochets. Okay, so you just repeat that pattern all the way around till you get to the end of the row. The end of the row. Okay, I've done all the stitches across, so you just chain 1 and slip stitch to join to the top of the very first stitch. Okay, so once you've joined it like that, you want to pull up a loop and then cut off the yarn, and that completes round 4. Okay, so this is what our granny square is looking like. Okay, so that's what the back looks like. So you can continue to add more rows if you want it bigger, just repeating the same pattern until you get the size that you want. Mine is about 4.5 inches across, just a little bit, almost 4.5. And then when you measure it diagonally, okay, it's about 5 inches, okay, when you measure it diagonally. So that is what the scale looks like. Okay, it can cover the palm of my hand, so if yours is not up to, you can increase it to reach the palm of your hand. The next thing to do now is to weave in our ends. Okay, so you take that center thread there, that center tail from the magic ring, and then you want to use your hook to pick through the back loops of your work. Okay, and then you're going to yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through twice, making 2 chain, and pull tightly to close up that loop. And then we are going to weave it in, taking your yarning needle and put it through the back loops of that work, feed the yarn through the needle, and then you're going to pull it through, okay, and cut off the excess. Okay, so we have done that. So you repeat the same thing, put your yarn needle through the stitches, the back loop only, feed your yarn through the needle and pull up to cut off the excess. Okay, so you want to try as much to feed in the same color of yarn into the same color of stitches. So I'm doing this now for the yellow part. So that is how you want to weave in each of the tail ends you have. So after weaving, this is what our work is going to look like, a very neat granny square. Okay, so you can repeat the same thing and make another granny square. Okay, once you've done that, you want to now lay them flat, right side facing each other, and flip it like so. Okay, the wrong sides are going to be out, so now we are going to sew along the edges like so. So to start joining, first of all, we want to thread our darning needle. Okay, so you thread your yarn needle like so, and then you want to tie the 2 ends of the thread together so that it does not come undone, and then you cut off the excess. Okay, so now we are going to start sewing our work. Starting from one corner, we are going to pick only on the back loops only. Okay, so you pick only on the back loop of the first chain stitch close to the double crochet in that corner there. Okay, put your needle through and attach like so. Okay, like your regular sewing. Then we are going to pick the back loop now of the first double crochet there, and then the back loop of the other double crochet on the other side. Okay, so you're just going to keep sewing regularly like this, so picking only the back loops only. That's the 3rd double crochet from that corner stitch there. After that, when you get to where you have your chain 1, you also pick the back loops of the chain stitches there. Okay, so you just want to keep picking just the back loops only until you get to the other side of the corner stitch, the end there. Now at the end of that place towards the corner stitch there, okay, we are going to pick the chain stitch that is closest to the last double crochet that we just sewed. Okay, so you want to sew it and use it to knot your work. So like that, we have joined that part of the granny square. Okay, the next thing now is to weave in that end. Okay, so you just weave it in like so, secure it as much as you can. After weaving it in like this, and I'm going to take your scissors and cut that excess yarn there, and just like that, we have joined that part of the granny square. Now we are going to join the other part, keeping the right sides facing each other. Okay, so we want to join this part of the work. Okay, and to do that, we are going to mark out where our thumb is going to come out from. So you mark the center of your work like so, and then you want to mark out about 1.5 inch. Okay, just like you see what I'm doing, where your thumb is just going to come out, that is what it means. So you take your stitch marker or your yarn needle and tie that end together. Okay, leave the center part for the thumb, and also mark the other part where we are going to sew and stop. Okay, So once you've done that, we'll sew this part and sew this part, and that center there is going to be where the thumb hole is going to stick out from. Now to start sewing, we'll just repeat what we did before, picking only the back loops only and starting from the chain 1 stitch closest to the double crochet from that corner. Okay, we're just going to sew all the way until we get to where we have our stitch marker. Okay, just like that place where we tied it to mark out the thumb. So you take off the stitch marker there and then you join it to that chain stitch in between there. Okay, and use it to knot that end together. Okay, so that is that we have joined that side. We are now going to weave in the end of that part of the work. Okay, so you just want to weave in your ends and then cut off the excess yarn, and that's that. Now we are going to move in to the next part of the work and sew that part as well. So after sewing, this is what our work is going to be looking like. And remember, we sew on the back side of the work, so now I'm just going to turn it inside out onto the right part of our work like so. You can see, you can test it, you can see where the thumb is sticking out from, and then we are going to do the other remaining parts of the work. And to do that, now we are going to attach our yarn onto that corner stitch there, okay, from the top of your work. So once you've attached your yarn, you make your first starting double crochet stitch, which is 3 single crochets stacked together like me, or you can just chain 3. And then into that first double crochet stitch there, you place a double crochet. Into the next, you place another double crochet. You try to work on top of the tail there, just to hide in that tail end like I'm doing. And when you get to the chain 1 space, you place a double crochet into that chain 1 space. And onto the next set of double crochets, you place a double crochet on top of each of the stitches. Okay, when you get to the chain 1 space, you place a double crochet into the chain 1 space, and you just want to keep doing this all the way around until you get to that end. Now when you get to that end there, okay, towards that corner stitch, you place a double crochet into the chain 2 space that was there before, and then that chain 1 space where you sewed it from, you're going to place a double crochet there. Okay, onto the next side of the corner stitch where you sewed the chain 1 stitch, you place a double crochet there, and into the remaining chain stitch there, you place another double crochet, and then you're now going to place double crochets on top of each of the double crochet stitches, and just keep repeating the pattern all the way until you get to the other end. Now towards the end of that row, we're just going to repeat what we did for the other corner there. Okay, so you just make your double crochet into the chain 1 space, and then the second chain space where we sew, you place a double crochet. The next chain space where we sewed before, you place a double crochet, and then we are going to slip stitch and join to the top of that very first double crochet there, and that completes that round. Okay, so now we're going to chain 1, turn our hook, and we are going to be making front post back post double crochet stitch for this round. So you insert your hook like this to make the front post. So I'm making my first double crochet stitch, which is the 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. Okay, so that's your first front post double crochet. Now to do the back post, you insert your hook through the back side like so and make you a double crochet, and that is our back post stitch. Now our next stitch is the front post stitch, so just follow it as you can see what I'm doing. Okay, insert and make the back post double crochet. Then the next is the front post double crochet. Okay, so there's just the pattern you want to repeat all the way around until you get to the end of the row. Now towards the end of that row, okay, so the last stitch there, I'm going to be making a back post double crochet, and after that I'm just going to slip stitch to the top of that very first double crochet stitch there. Okay, once you've done that, you want to chain 1, turn your hook, and then onto the next stitch there now, which is the front post double crochet. There you place a front post double crochet, and since it is your starting stitch, you make your starting double crochet stitch, which is 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. The next thing now is to make another back post double crochet onto the next stitch, since it is a back post double crochet. Then next you make a front post double crochet. So on top of each of the stitches, according to which one they are, you place either a front post double crochet or a back post double crochet on top of each of the stitches. Okay, so we keep repeating the pattern row after row until we have about 7 rows in total of the front post back post double crochet. Okay, now at the end of the 7th row, I'm just going to make my last stitch there, which is a back post double crochet. Then you slip stitch to the top of the first crochet, chain 1, pull up the loop and cut off the excess yarn. Okay, so that is what you need to do for this part. Okay, you can, from the first double crochet would have about 7 rows. Okay, you can also measure it to know the length you need to make it. Okay, so mine is about 2.5 inches in length, so you can just keep making until your rows after rows until you have about 2.5 inches. Okay, and then after, the next thing now is to weave in till end. So you take your yarn needle and pass it through the stitches inside of the work, which is the wrong part. Okay, remember we are working on the right side, so you weave in through the wrong side of your work, which is inside. So now you pass your yarn through the needle like so, and then we are going to weave it in through. All right, so after you are done weaving in the yarn through the stitches, the next thing now is to cut off the remaining excess yarn like so, and that is that for this part of the work. Okay, so you can see what the work is looking like right now. You can give it a little test. So that is just what the work is looking like. The next thing now is to work on the other top part of the work. Okay, so we just repeat the same thing we did for the down part for the top part of the work, but we are going to be doing only 3 rows instead. Okay, so after making the 3 rows of the front post back post double crochet, this is what your work is going to look like. As you can see, it's 3 rows, which is about 1 inch. Okay, so you can just keep making rows after rows until you have about 1 inch. The next thing now is to work on the thumb area. Okay, so we're just going to attach our yarn into that 1 stitch in between there where we sewed our work to. Okay, so you attach your yarn into the chain 1 stitch. So once you have attached your yarn into that chain space, you want to make your first double crochet stitch, which is going to be our normal 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. Okay, so once you have done that, the next thing now is to place 2 single crochets into that center part where we sewed to join our work. Okay, so you place 1 and then you place the second one into that same center part there where we joined our work. After placing that, you come onto the place where you have your chain 1 stitch that we joined with and place another double crochet there. After that, we are now going to place double crochets on top of each of the following double crochet stitches. Okay, remember to weave in your end as you work by working over that tail end there. Okay, so you just keep making your double crochet stitches on top of each of the stitches across. When you get to the chain space there in between, you're going to place your double crochet into the chain stitch there. So take your time to pick that chain 1 stitch, place a double crochet, and into the next corresponding stitches you're going to place more double crochets into each of the stitches across until we get to that center there. Okay, so now we are at that place where we joined. Okay, so you pick the chain stitch there that we used to join our work. After picking that, into the center stitch there where we joined, you're going to place 2 double crochets into that joined center there. So I'm placing the second around. After that, onto the chain stitch there, you place a double crochet, and then into each of the next corresponding double crochets you place your normal double crochets on top of each of the stitches. So you just keep repeating that until you get to the other end of your work, and then we are going to join. So now at the end of that row, we are just to slip stitch to join to the top of the very first double crochet. There you chain one, turn your work, and then make a front post double crochet. Okay, so making the first post double crochet, starting with my double crochet stitch, which is 3 single crochets stacked on top of each other. After that, you make your back post double crochet onto the next stitch. The next stitch is going to be a front post double crochet, and you just keep repeating that front post, back post all the way around until you get to the end of that row. Okay, so at the end of that row, you just want to join your work by slip stitching onto the top of the very first double crochet. There chain one, pull up a loop, and then cut off the yarn, and that completes that for the thumb hole. The next thing now we are going to do is to weave in the ends. Okay, so you take your yarn needle and weave in through the stitches. Okay, remember to weave in into the wrong side of your work, picking in between the stitches like so. Okay, so take your time, then you're going to feed your yarn through your needle, and after you do that, the next thing is to pull it through to weave in the end, so that you cut off the excess yarn. So that is how to make your fingerless gloves. Okay, this is what the work is going to look like in your hand. Okay, so you can increase the length to the size that you want. So that is just that for the fingerless gloves. You can go ahead and make a second pair like this. Okay, that will be all for this tutorial. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.